Hello, welcome to the 3 Points of Articulation podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Wills. We've got a special one-off today. We're joined today with Archie Stubbs, who's like a British wrestling encyclopedia, I guess. Is it like a historian? What's
Yeah,
the term
historian's
for it?
probably the right word for it. I would say exhibitionist, but that's the wrong word,
That is
isn't
very much the
it?
wrong word. Yeah, that's something that my mum did in the 80s, I imagine. You're quite young, Archie. You're not like the age of a historian, are you?
No, it's funny how that happened. I grew up with my dad watching wrestling. That's who he got me into. And we had two main DVDs we would watch. One was a Hulk Hogan anthology, and one was a World Sport DVD. So if I wanted to watch full matches, it'd be World Sport. And I grew up watching World Sport despite being born in the 2000s.
Well, because when you're a kid, and it's fact, even now, like if you watch any sort of wrestling near anyone over the age of 65, the first thing they say to you is, "I remember watching it World of Sport with Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks," and it's always something that I don't not really not never watched it as a kid, resided with me that's basically where wrestling essentially started over here.
Yeah, well, the main part of wrestling, like wrestling as we know it, was founded in Wales. It was like Catch as Catch Can wrestling was founded in Wales, which then spun off into world sport and what we know now.
Yeah, so that's because as much as we love wrestling, the history of it is something that's tend to be told by the bigger companies. Like I'm sure there's people out there that thought it started in 1985, but it really didn't. It's if you look back into the history of it, I mean, also as we'll go through today, with somewhat of a love letter to British wrestling with yourself. We'll start off talking because you got a toy line that we or you announced
Yeah,
recently.
so I announced this yesterday. This has been something I've been trying to do for years now, but I've decided to finally go all in and try and make it work. It's the big companies, the APS Toy Company, which is my initials. And then at the moment, we're starting with two lines: Real Resin Wrestlers, which is play on the WCW Galoob line, and Football Frenzy Figurines, which is kind of like the Corinthian figures, like the football figures of the 2000s.
Oh, okay. Well, this what song was it they had with it was the football stars, wasn't it? The football
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
around that.
yeah. So what's the because will there be a crossover between the two? Because obviously we have like Jim Franco Zola in a resin style.
I don't see it happening. Football Frenzy figurines is more of a personal one than a line. So Football Frenzy figurines will differ from your regular toy line, as in there is no line, there is no mass produced figure in the sense. So the way it'll work is a customer will send a photo of them to me, and we will personalize this Corinthian style. We'll make this personal style action figure for you as a one off.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
So
a
they're a custom.
yeah, well, custom but mass produced, if that makes sense. So they've all. I don't want to like big it up and over promise and not deliver, but it is the simple football figure base that we then print your face on and then paint the hair and then it gets sent off to you.
Oh, okay. So something like you'd use for a Father's Day present or a
Yeah,
Christmas
like a
present.
Father's Day. Yeah, something like that. A little, or like we had, we've got a couple of football teams interested at the moment who want to get them full lines for their players for celebrating a cup final win or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Coming
I
up.
get what you mean now by mass produced as well as custom. Right. So you could work in the sense of like if a local football team contacted you and wanted to have 20 sets made for their club shop.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I got yeah, that makes
So
sense.
they're all low numbers, but they are all quite personal.
Hey, Gianfranco Zola's son might buy him one.
Yeah,
So
just stuff like that.
yeah.
And then we're gone.
I was gonna say with the Galoob style, which I'm sure you're about to get to there. Obviously Galoob's we were talking about the other day on the episode how big of an impact they had in our childhood. We've seen places come out recently with Galoob styles. So we've had obviously Top Rope who have the PNUs come out soon, and Epic's doing the Loobs, and there's a rumor of another one, or Power Town is actually the rumor, doing it as well. So where do you tend to fit in with what those
Uh,
guys are doing?
yeah, so there's a lot of wrestling figure companies that come and go, and I understand that. And a lot of them have focused on the Hasbro style, which I understand. Hasbro's are nostalgic to all of us, even me, who I had two myself, and I'm nostalgic for them too. But I really wanted to focus on the Galoob line because when I was planning this, no one had announced any Galoobs, which now about five different people.
Soslow.
Yeah, but I understand that I'm not going to be able to get the top stars, so I want something that's a lot more personal to the UK. So we're focusing a lot on UK independent talent, a lot of UK legends who haven't had a figure before. But uh, so like we have got two superstars signed at the moment and one in contract to sign, but I don't want to give anything away. But we are working alongside independent stars who are up and coming in wrestling in the UK scene specifically, and legends from the world sport era.
So obviously, with us in the UK, it's good that someone's focused on that. Obviously, when Chella first came about, they were going to do a history of British wrestling or a British wrestling line, which I think when people look back at it, it was like, oh, it's a great idea. People need that. The likes of like McManus, also we've had a Haystacks in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Jackson Big Daddy figures that really got the line in my head thinking because I love the Cello Toys figures. No, absolutely amazing. I think I ended up buying something like six, seven of the Haystackses just for customization purposes. So I love the Cello line, but I was always annoyed there wasn't more of them, and I wanted that continuation, and I wanted like local well, not local, but like independent wrestlers to have something that no one else is going to be able to offer, which is their own action figure that they can sell at shows that I'll sell online that is different. Because I mean, with no disrespect, how many Mark Romero figures do we need, or how many?
Bulldogs.
Uh,
Don't tell me you signed Bulldog.
yeah, well, every company's making a bulldog figure at the moment. I can tell you it. Look, I understand why. If I was given the opportunity to make a bulldog figure, I'd absolutely jump on the chance. But at the moment, we're focusing on legends and independent talent. We've got two independent talent signed. We're looking for. I'm hoping to be able to get one of the legends soon from the world sport era, and it's all just it's going up. Like, and I'm expecting the market to be there based on how the Big Daddy and Haystacks are sold for Cella and so on.
Yeah, well, they were very good sellers, the pair of them. For a fact, which is always a bonus. Well, you bought six of them, so
Yeah.
so I think with like independent talents, as you mentioned, I think one of the issues that we've always had in the past with indie talents is, the minimum run that you could do is normally around a 500 with a factory. Also, what is it that you guys doing it? You say resin, or so I'm guessing that's like 3D
Yes,
printed.
they are going to be 3D printed. I say we, it's me and my dad, and my
Hey, it's
dad's.
two of you. That counts as a we.
My dad doesn't know he's a part of it yet. I invested quite a significant amount of money in several 3D printers. I've got them all lined up. I've basically turned my bedroom into a little Chinese sweatshop where I'm the only worker, where we've got several machines going, brushes, all sorts going. They're all. I didn't. I'm not the smartest man, I'll admit that. I didn't know how to contact Chinese factories and get stuff like that. And I didn't really want to take that risk. But with them being in house, all hand painted, not handmade, but handcrafted,
You
hand
press the
sculpted,
you press the button.
I press the button, I let the machine do the rest. It's all very personalized and all. I wanted to keep that through it. I don't want to expand too big, and I wanted to keep it quite personal. I would keep it local to the UK. Only use UK talent. You know what I mean? Just keep it very UK. I'm proud of British. I'm proud of British wrestling. I want to keep that going.
No, of course, and I think it is one thing that because there is lines that cover British figures, but there's not a dedicated British figure line. Um, so I think stuff like that, as well as obviously the history that you have, and the ins and outs of it, is a good gel for it. Um, Indie talents, obviously, we have three POAs, Johnny Flashback, who would be perfect for the line. So feel free to hit him up. I'm sure he'll be interested. Um,
Like, go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he's not always more than open, I imagine, for it.
Well, that's something else I've noticed as well. Whilst I've been doing this for a relatively short time compared to other companies, I've noticed a lot of wrestlers in the UK scene specifically have been looked over for figures, and I find that quite disappointing in my mind because there are great talents that just never had figures and stuff like that. Like Johnny Saint, he never got a figure. Gentleman Chris Adams, people like that who have always been looked over for figures, who were at points some of the biggest talent in even the world, just completely looked over. And I don't want them to be looked over anymore. I want to create them figures.
Yeah, and you got to think how little figures like Dave Taylor's had compared to the long career that he's, stuff like that.
It, it it's all bulldog and like William Regal figures. And like I said, no disrespect to them. I'd love to make figures of them, but I do want the other guys.
Yeah. So with like, well, obviously you say you've signed two new talents at the moment. Have you spoken to the likes of Progress or any of the other big companies over
I've
here?
not spoken to companies yet. I will speak to them if I want like permission to use their belts and stuff because that's something I do want to add to the figures. Whilst Galoob's had the one style Galoob belts, I want to have like specific belts to go with specific figures. So whilst I've not reached out to them yet, I will be reaching out to companies like Progress, like Rev Pro, Chaos, New Wave, stuff like that to try and get people signed up.
How's it work? So would it work with like someone orders a, say for example, a Luke Jacobs figure? Someone orders a Luke Jacobs figure. Would you then print that figure to order and then hand paint it and send it
Uh, we
out?
we do a limited run first, and then after that it would be two orders. So we do a limited run of 100 in stock, let's say, and then after that they would still be available, but they'd be available on a delay because they'd be made to order.
Oh, okay. So in a sense, you could never sell out in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the figures would never sell out, and they'd never stop being made until I decided to cut that figure for whatever reason, or the person had was no longer able to. Let's say they got signed to a Legends deal or something like that with the
Right.
WWE, so they could no longer feasibly make them legally.
That makes sense. So I guess it sort of saves repaints. I mean, you could do repaints if you wanted to, just change your the paintbrush you're using, didn't you? So
Yeah,
makes sense.
like I said, I'm trying to keep it. Well, like I said, that's one of the reasons I've not worked with a factory. It's I don't want to commit myself to a minimum order, if that makes sense. I
Hmm.
just want to. Everything's hand painted. Everything's going to be handmade. If we're never going to run out of anything, granted, you might have a 2 week delay on a figure, but you're never going to not be able to buy a figure, which is something I've always been annoyed with as well. I can't get a certain figure because it's sold out.
Yeah, and you got to then go through eBay and pay them
Yeah,
scalpers.
yeah.
Uh, how long are you thinking before things get up and running?
I'm aiming for second quarter 2025,
Okay,
and
so
I feel like I'm being optimistic with that, but we are looking at a 2025 first figures out in the market.
and is that a case of you're gonna do like a pre-order for 100, or are you just gonna do them to order when they come out?
I'm just going to put. I'm not going to do pre-orders because I don't like that because then you get ranty emails of people like, "Where's my figure? I ordered." No,
No,
I'll,
never.
they'll just when they're ready, they'll go up, and then I'll accept made to orders after those original set have sold out.
And how about like the cards? Have you thought of like designs of the cards and how you're gonna do
Yeah,
those? Or...
we have got a packaging design. I won't lie, it is very inspired by the original Hasbro card with like the design and layout, but we had our own spin to it. Like we can't copy everything, you know what I mean? We had our own little twists to it. So it's a hand drawn image, different color. You know what I mean? Just mixing it about making it look right. And then because we're not dedicated to like full series, we're more dedicated per wrestler than series. Each card would be different for each other, like more personalized than the other.
so it's Hasbro or Galoob's card, did you say? Sorry.
Hasbro style
Hasbro
card,
card. Ah,
like
okay.
the triangles in the corner and what have
Right,
you.
okay, got yeah. It would be like a resealable card, would
Uh,
you?
no, we won't be doing that just because that's too above my pay grade at the moment.
No, I meant
We're
as
just
in like, yeah, you get like a package. Otherwise, you have to put attach the
yeah,
bubble to the front,
it
don't
is
you?
going to be a bubble on a card, and I mean, I don't want to sound like disrespectful in the sense that you can buy two if you want to keep one mock and one loose, but
Hey, do it. If you
uh,
want to buy
but yeah,
two, crack
at
on.
the, they're not going to be expensive figures. We're aiming for around the £30 price range at the high end, which for a hand painted figure,
Hand painted, yeah.
yeah, it's not a lot. And of course, we give a cut back to the wrestlers. We cleared quite a big cutback compared to other companies. We give about 20% of all profits to the wrestlers, which is more than any other figure company will give you at the moment. So we keep it fair for everyone. I make a bit of money, wrestlers make a bit of money, you get a cheap figure. I mean, who are we to complain about?
People will. People will find something.
We'll find
Uh,
a way. It
water off
always
a water off a duck's back. I always find when it comes to that. People always find it. Um, so yeah, so a bit more into the British history side of things. So you got Shirley behind you there, Shirley Crabtree. Uh, so what's like? Because you're a young guy. I mean, I'm 34. You're probably what 10 years younger than I am, if not more.
uh, uh,
Not actually doing
yeah,
maths. What are you, early 20s? Um,
we're a bit more probably.
yeah, probably a bit more.
Yeah,
You're
17 years. I don't know how maths.
You're definitely older than 12. So,
Yeah,
so with that, obviously, like, what is it that's kept you engaged in? Because you said obviously when you were younger, you had the VHS tapes, but what's kept you engaged with British? Because when we saw you at Full of Wrestling and you had the stand and everything, it's impressive all the stuff that you've got. You've got the Big Daddy stand, a
yeah.
cat stand there. You got the Wembley scarves.
We've gained even more stuff since we last saw you. Wait, what got me into it was there was a local wrestler who's had health issues who I'm not going to name, that's his personal business. And to help fund that, he pretty much had to sell everything. And because I was a mate, I watched him growing up. I was like, I'll buy everything off you. I'll just buy everything you've got. Do you a favor, take it all. And then when I got it, I mean, I got autograph books that had autographs in. I ended up with two British Bulldog original promos signed, a ton of posters, and I was like, I can't keep these to myself. These are I'd be selfish if I did. So that's what got me in contact with the love of wrestling, and then ended up where I am now. I didn't intend to become going from show to show displaying, but it's the path that's been paved out for me, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's an impressive stand. I think it did catch a lot of eyes because you're right by the ring as well, which is it's always good to.
But yeah, that was amazing. I'm hoping for that spot again this year. Fingers crossed. Oh, I am going again next
There we
year. By
go.
the way,
Confirmed.
confirmed for a world announcement. Confirmed for 2025. I love wrestling.
Um, yes, I think when we actually obviously had a few custom figures there as well. So
Yeah,
as you can see, because oh, wait, let's do a double take. Because I thought, when that repaint come out? And it
yeah,
didn't. You just did it yourself. So,
yeah.
um,
Well, I ended up with the 16 haystacks or whatever it is I bought. I was in contact at one point to buy all of the leftover stock of the giant haystacks from Chella, but plans fell through, and I never got an email back.
plans fell through with Cheddar. You didn't hear back. Never.
I wasn't at a point to just buy every giant haystack figure they had and just give them away at shows and do repaints and what have you.
Hey,
Which
they probably still got them. I don't know.
they probably I'm hoping that next year at Love of Wrestling, you know how they had the Ethan Pages for a fiver. I'm hoping they've
Yeah,
just a box of giant haystacks is for a fiver. I'm hoping we get to that stage.
I'll have a word. I think it was with with obviously what we said about buying the merchandise and or buy the stuff off the wrestler. Was that when like the light bulb moment hit for you and you sort of thought, right, this is someone that's a hero to me. Surely there should be something that we can do to support him in a way, and then obviously a figure would help in that situation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it was after I bought all the stuff off this wrestler. I had because I've been doing customs for God pretty much all my life at this point. I have been painting figures, and I was like, why can't there be a mass produced figure of this person? And I've not got him signed yet. I want to talk to him. I'm going to talk to him at some point. But it was just a case of why hasn't this person been made as a figure? Well, what's stopping me from making it as a figure? And we're now where I've launched a company with two figure lines. I've got enough world of sports stuff to take shake a stick at. I've got it's a bit mad. If you don't mind, I'd like to show you something I've purchased that's been missing for 20 odd years.
Yeah, sure. It's not my mum, is it?
No,
No.
it's the original World of Sport British mid heavyweight title that was held by the likes of Marty Jones, Fit Finlay, Rollerball Rocco. This is the ring used one from the match's solid silver.
So
Uh,
what sort of era would that be? Did you say?
it's documented up from the 40s up until about the 80s. Something about British wrestling that I've learned is nothing was documented.
No,
Uh,
that's crazy.
no one took care of title histories. No one took care to mention, oh, this person dropped the belt to this person at some point. No one dotted that down. The only evidence we've got is those World of Sport tapings, the ITV ones, and if you see a wrestler with it holding it on a program or on a like a poster or something like that. So there could have been hundreds of holders of that belt that I've never known about. Just I know Fit Finlay, Mark Rocco, Marty Jones. There's a few others, but they're the only ones I've got significant evidence for.
That's so is that obviously something that you bought off the wrestler we mentioned earlier, I take it, was it? Or is that just something that you've picked up?
No, that's something I've had to track down, and it cost me an arm and a leg and everything else along with it. I picked it up a couple of months ago in Blackpool. It was an ex-referee from who used to work the Blackpool circuit refereeing. From the story he told me, a promoter died. His widow wanted his office cleared out. They paid some daft money, like we'll pay 100 quid for everything. Took everything, took it all home, opened the box that it was in, and discovered that belt. And it's
That's
just been
crazy,
missing
isn't
for.
it?
Yeah, it's weird how stuff pops up over time. Uh, I've had offers to buy it already. Some guy in Japan desperately wants to buy it off me. I'm not selling it, staying in this country. That's a piece we are bringing to For Love of Wrestling, and I've specifically asked World of Sport and World of Sport For Love of Wrestling to provide me with a security guard for when I go off to look at other stalls to man the belt because I'm not losing that.
No, I mean, how would you even go about displaying that? You'd need that in like a protective case inside a protective case, wouldn't you?
I'm looking at. Have you ever watched the Antiques Roadshow? You know they've got them like jewelry cases with the locks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all. Yeah, we're looking at getting one of them to display it
Oh, perfect. You just need not David Dickinson, but whatever the
in.
Antiques Roadshow equivalent is to walk past.
I've applied to go on. Is it Roadshow or Road Trip? The one where they go and like value ones instead of traveling around.
Oh,
Forget what it
Antiques
is.
Road, Antique. Yeah, it's, I don't know.
One of
Yeah,
them.
one of them. That'd be a
One
treat, wouldn't it?
applied to go on that with the belt, just mainly for attention more than anything. Just some free publicity in it.
I think
So
when we saw you at Flava Wrestling, I think you did like the entrance thing for the Bulldogs. I think
yeah,
you and your
yeah,
dad,
that
um, the using it Matilda as well. I remember seeing you in that.
yeah. We we I try and have fun. I don't. I'm not that serious, and that's been a benefit and a deficit in some situations. But I like to have fun, especially for love of wrestling, where it's people I know, people I like, people who have the same interests as me. Just have fun in it. I am going to cosplay this year, I do think, though. So is my dad.
It's good. Well, what is it you collect at the moment? What sort of things you
We
buying without British wrestling stuff, obviously?
other than British wrestling, I've been trying to complete a loose set of classic superstars.
That's
Uh,
not easy, is it?
no, I'm about halfway there and about 300 figures deep, and I'm starting to regret it. But I've also got a signed classic superstar collection, which Big Daddy's hiding at the moment of all my signed classic superstars as well. I'm a big classic superstars guy.
So is it just like you prefer that over the Elite style, or the flashbacks, or?
I love the elites. I love the flashbacks. I love the Ultimate Editions. I just got the Ultimate Edition Vader. Absolutely amazing figure. Absolutely love it. I don't. Something about Jax has always been nostalgic to me because my dad got what got me into it, and then the wrestling figures I grew up with. And that's going to make me sound like dead young growing up on Jack's classic superstars.
It's
But
not in
it's
a way because I think they went what from like 04, 05, was it?
something like that. I forget. But that line's always just been nostalgic because that's just what I grew up with.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, you and me both, I guess. I think I was more the start of it, you were more the end of it, I imagine. Um, so obviously with like what you guys are doing there with the collection and so on, and what you're doing on the road, is it something that you're looking to take away from conventions and maybe get set up like a website or a museum, I guess? Or
We, as much as I'd love a physical museum, I don't think it would ever work financially or anything like that. I,
Hmm,
I, I, I don't think enough people would come through the door
the
to keep
appeal's
the
that
line.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, because as great as the reception was at For Love of Wrestling and other events we've done some events where we've had two people talk to us, whereas For Love of Wrestling we were non-stop talking to people. It is very hit and miss with who comes and who goes, and especially with the business I've just started, I don't have the funds nor the ability to take that kind of risk to set up a physical location. I mean, I'd love to set one up at Kendo's mansion that's gone up for sale, but I don't have the funds to do that. I mean, it's just I'd love it, but we're going to stick to the conventions, the wrestling shows. We've got a show coming up at PWFU in Stoke coming up, which is where we're based. We're based in Stoke, so we'd
Don't
keep.
give me your address, will you?
Yeah, we're based in Stoke. I say we try and keep local. We don't. We do a few odd shows elsewhere, but we are mainly staying in and around the Stoke area just because it's easy. And I've got siblings that I've got to account for that they obviously take priority in some locations.
Yeah, and you got to think as well, like trying to get the Big Daddy statue, they cut out behind you down to Exeter or Plymouth is probably be somewhat
Yeah,
of a
it's
nightmare, isn't it?
we've been invited to Braintree, Scotland. We're never able to do it just because space and the club we've got is big, but it's not big enough for 4 or 5 people plus all the British wrestling stuff.
Mm,
So picking and choosing the dates we do.
yeah. Just to sort of circle back to the toy line that we are talking about. So, um, are you planning series, waves? What are you planning for it?
Yeah, well, like I said before, because it's the made to order, not made to order kind of aspect. There will be waves, but they will all kind of blend into one, if that makes sense. Because you can order them at any time. It's not like the limited releases or anything like that. So, whilst there will be waves of, I think we're trying to aim for 5, 6 figures in one wave, which will all be dropping at the same time. It is very person based. So, if we can't fill up a wave, let's say, we will just drop 1 or 2 random figures every now and then without really much as an announcement, just surprise drop, here's a new figure type thing.
Got it. So it'll be like because yeah, you said like they're evergreen, aren't they? So if you have, for example, the first four, and then they will stay on the website when the second four come out. I guess it's
Yeah,
just when you had a chance to design.
they'll come out when they're ready. There's not a set time. There's not really a set series. There's not a set minimum. They'll just come out when they're ready, and we'll do teaser videos and whatever. I'll send you. We've not dropped it yet. I'll send you the teaser video we've just created for the new line coming up.
Yeah, perfect. I won't share it.
Yeah, no,
Well, I
I
won't
don't.
tell us so.
But it is quite high tech. I mean, we use some of the same machines to scan the wrestlers that Mattel uses for theirs. We're using a similar design process to the original Hasbro's. Uh, so we are trying keeping it very much as in the style of wrestling figures, like following the same process as wrestling figures.
So you're not doing like the not the true effects, what they call the one at the moment where they've well some of it look like they've been put on with a shotgun, didn't they?
Yeah,
But um
they're doing it's pad printing is the way they do their faces, which is why you sometimes get them a bit skewed because where the pads
yeah,
came
yeah.
from.
It's my favorite way of printing was a pad print.
Yeah, we're not doing that mainly because I'm not rich by any means. I've not got a ton of money. A pad printer machine is way out of the budget. It's 2 grand that I don't have spare, so we're just hand painting. I'll spend the extra 3 minutes painting the action figure's face to make sure it's perfect, and instead of having a pad printing machine mess up.
And have you got customs and stuff that you've done already that you can
Yeah,
sort of
we.
show?
Do I have any to hand? Most of them are sold. I sell quite a lot of them.
Well,
Uh,
you've got Instagram and stuff, haven't you, Archie? So I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
you can check out my Instagram, Archie's wrestling figures. I've got a haystacks here,
Yeah,
which
perfect.
are the cello ones. I also just remembered, well, if we want to circle back to British wrestling, I've got some
Hmm.
of Big Daddy's massage oil here.
When did that come out? When was that released? I don't even know yeah.
It doesn't have a year on it. For more information, write to Big Daddy's Gym in West Yorkshire. I hope it's signed by Big Daddy. It was cost £2.50 back in the day.
Oh, that's
Now,
expensive then. Back then, isn't it? That'd have
yeah,
been like
Daddy's selling vegetable oil in a pot. I'm
classic.
not touching that.
No, that's fair enough. We can't argue with
I'm
that.
not breaking out the Big Daddy. You massage
No.
oil anytime.
Um, so yeah, we mentioned obviously socials wise. Obviously, we've got an Instagram. I think that's where you sent me the post. Well, this morning when I woke up. Anyway, uh, is that where everything's going to be central for you? So updates and everything.
I haven't really decided, honestly. It probably will be. I'll probably rename the account though, so it's not just custom figures. It will probably be renamed to the APS Toy Company, and I'll change. I'll make another account for the customs because I'll be honest. I expect the customs to mainly retire after the figure line starts, just because I
Busy.
won't have. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
which
I
is fair.
expect it to mainly retire, which is a shame. I mean, it has just really started picking up for me. I've started getting quite a decent amount of commissions as well, but I would much rather make my own line than make figures for anyone else.
No, that makes sense. And I think like, yeah, it's always important when you. Well, social media is probably the most important marketing tool nowadays, especially for startups. So, anything Instagram, Twitter's kind of dead if you're just starting, isn't it? But yeah, Facebook and Instagram are certainly the way
We
forward
also
for
have
them.
a Facebook account in a few weeks. Well, I say a few weeks. It'll probably be tomorrow or as soon as this interview's finished. Honestly, like I said, we've got the Instagram page, Archie's Custom Figures, which will probably get changed, but at the moment it's staying as it is. We'll be dropping the teaser video in a couple of weeks. We just need to get a few more footage from the wrestlers who were announcing, which I really want to say, but I don't want to spoil it because then I'll say it here and then not be able to follow it up for a few weeks because we've not done anything like
Hey, the
scanning wise yet. We've
suspense is
chosen
fun.
qualities. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've said second quarter 2024. I would much rather wait.
2025.
Yeah, 2025 even. I would rather wait till 2026 to get these figures out if I knew the quality was good. I'm not going to toss out a dodgy product or a subpar product. I mean, it's not good. I don't want to like raise expectations. You're not going to get an Ultimate Edition quality figure from some bloke making figures in his like in Stoke. You're going to get a good quality figure that I'm hoping will match, if not go past the quality of the original Galoobs.
Yeah, and just don't rush it. That's my only advice in every sense of the word. Um, so with regards to like what you obviously they're being made 3D print wise, are you like obviously made from resin, but how are you going to get like the feel of a Galoob or the squeeziness, I guess?
Again, I I had a Vader prototype. We had, I say we had Vader. We made a prototype Vader to show. Is it? I forget his son's name. To show him.
Oh,
See,
Bryce?
I forget. It's something white in it, but
Yeah, it's not called Bryce. Something similar.
yeah, we created a prototype to show him. Plans fell through. It was mainly my end that fell through because I wanted to focus on the British side.
Hmm.
But and then I think around the same time, Chella announced they were making a Vader figure. So
Epic. Don't.
Epic, sorry, Epic announced they were.
We get me in trouble with my boss.
We announced that Epic were going to make a Vader figure at the same time, and we're not in the market to compete with Cella. Epic, I say. I'm so used to introducing Cella. We're not in the market. We're not. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. I don't want to end up in the same market as them. Like I think it's Riot Zoo makes like deathmatch little figures.
Hmm.
I love deathmatch wrestling. I want to get some deathmatch guys, but I said to him, look, I'm not in the market to compete with you. We both just want to exist in the same market. I'll stay away from deathmatch guys, so I don't interfere with your business and vice versa. I just
Yeah.
I'm not in this business to make enemies. I'm here to make friends and make some good figures. But I have to,
Yeah, don't let them catch you on your street corner. What does that mean?
yeah.
Obviously there is like a bit of a crossover when it comes to Japanese wrestlers that wrestled in Britain. Is that something that you look at, or is it just people from Britain that you're going to be doing?
I'd say if they had not a cultural, but like a big impact in Britain, we'd like go with them. So like the only wrestler who's coming to mind at the moment, Sammy Lee, the original Tiger Mask, who had a lot of work in World of Sport and was loved by the British wrestlers. Jushin Thunder Liger. Obviously, I'm throwing out massive names that we're probably never going to get. But if a Japanese wrestler did leave a significant impact on British wrestling, we would definitely consider them. Like same with Cara Noir, people like that.
Yeah.
Like if they have a big impact in British wrestling, I have no problem including them in the line. I just didn't want it to be clogged up of Jerry Knights and what have you. They're just
We love Joey. More Joey's the better.
I love Jerry. I met him at Full of Wrestling. He's an absolutely amazing guy. Signed some autographs on my table for other people, but that's fine. We'll brush over that. He's an amazing guy. Took some great photos. I love him, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Oh, 100%. Joey's got
I
nine
don't want to make
figures.
everyone put there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we love Joey, but he's got nine figures. I mean, don't be
Yeah. I mean,
greedy. Don't be greedy, Joey.
he's got an NWO version. He's got 17 different singlets. I
Yeah.
just stuff like we
Um,
just want to clog up toy lines.
yeah, I think that's one thing to know, isn't it? I think there's certain people that have had loads of figures, especially over the last couple of years. And
Especially with the rise of more companies making
Mhm.
figures. I mean, I can't count how many Matt Cardona's had, like with stuff like that. You know, I didn't want to make guys that wrestling companies have already made, which was a big reason why I ended up dropping with the Vader
Mhm.
situation because I don't want to make guys who have already been made. I want to make different guys. I want to make guys who. That's the reason I started it. Guys who've never had a figure getting a figure.
Yeah, maybe with Vader, it wasn't time. Um,
Yeah, I'm happy to look into a Vader later. I don't know, maybe the gear he wrestled Osprey in. You know, something random. I'm a big fan of the one-off random gears. Like that Haystacks I showed you was a random one-off gear that he wore for a random match. I'm a big fan of the one random one-off gears.
yeah, because I think as you mentioned, like, Liger, for example, you can never have enough Liger figures. I don't think it's one person that you could sit there and draw Liger figures all day, can you?
Yeah, I like Liger. If you, I don't, I'd love to get Liger. Obviously, I mean, I highly doubt he's going to respond to my emails. But if Liger wants to be part of the line, I'm happy to accommodate him in the line.
Hey,
And people like,
people like money, so
well, you never know. You never know.
you never know. Well, yeah, in regards to like British wrestling and so on, I think probably a good base there. Uh, Anything else you want to show off to the camera whilst we're here? We can have a little snippet,
Yeah,
little video for the Facebook you can show off.
yeah. Another little hidden gem. This is Mark Rollerball Rocco's Ring One headband in a nice glass frame. That's been this. You learn this stuff that people like to gatekeep when you're collecting British wrestling memorabilia. People like to take and gatekeep, which is one of the reasons why I started displaying anyway, because I'm not selfish. I'll show this stuff to the world. Like, there's a guy out there who owns something like 20 odd Big Daddy singlets and he refuses to share any of them. He refuses everything. So I don't want
I
to
bet his house smells nice.
be. Yeah. I mean, it's going to sound weird, and I don't like. You'll know who he is based off this. He's got Big Daddy's death certificate hung up on this wall.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not that guy, but you know what I mean.
How'd you even get that? Like, did you go to a coroner?
I've no clue. I've also got John Quinn's ring worn boot that I don't. I need to check where. I've not checked every date because he's worn these in a lot of matches, but he was obviously in World of Sport. He main evented the first ever wrestling event in Wembley
Hmm.
before MJF ever did it, or British Bulldog or whatever. Yeah, he was the first, along with Big Daddy. He was a Canadian wrestler, won Stampede title a few times, wrestled all the Hearts and whatever. Oh, speaking of that belt, Owen Hart wrestled for it, but didn't win it. Just random history like that.
Yeah. Because it's incredible because you're so young, but you know, or did you just sort of sit down and just read it, or did you watch tapes, or
Uh, it's uh, I don't really know how everybody says the information. I think it just kind of sticks. Like a lot of stories, a lot of books. Uh, I've got a few interesting stories if you gonna do that.
No, carry on,
December.
carry on.
But yeah, there's just a few random like little bits. Like I'm trying to think of stuff now. Like I know where the original World of Sport ring is, stuff like that. Like it's just in a random warehouse somewhere that I don't have access to. Random bits like that. Like there was a World of Sport like WWF shared airtime with World of Sport on World of Sport programming at one point, which is seems mad to think about, but
Hmm.
there's a promo somewhere of Mean Gene going, "Welcome to World of Sport Wrestling" with a WWF microphone, and he types in the calculator of stones to pounds or whatever, trying to get in touch with the UK viewers, which is just really random stuff like that.
Was that just like a cross promotion thing where like they're trying to get the UK to watch it a bit more and then vice versa, or?
So World of Sport wasn't one promotion. It was originally it was All Star, and then it shared All Star shared with joint promotions, and then eventually it was split in three with joint All Star joint promotions and WWF, which they all shared airtime on 1 hour show, and they'd all kind of have one or two matches each. So on the debut show, there's the Bulldogs in a tag match on WWF, and then there's Kendo Nagasaki versus someone in a disco ladder match, which is just really random stuff. If you get time, watch that disco ladder match because it is they're just playing classical music whilst disco lights blaring about in a ladder match in World of Sport with a golden record hanging from the end.
It's
It's
my kind
really
of
weird.
Friday.
Yeah, it's really weird, and British wrestling is like that. I mean, I got invited to the wrestlers reunion. I'm not going
Right.
to say which one because there's several. And then when they found out, oh, you're bringing the Big Daddy cut out. Oh, watch out, you don't get punched in the face by a drunk wrestler. I'm like, what? Oh, a lot of wrestlers hate Big Daddy, so they might want to punch you. What?
Probably don't bring it then, yeah. Leave it.
Yeah. And then I got uninvited from it, so I got weirdly threatened and then uninvited.
Oh.
It's it's really, really weird British wrestling. I've had a lot of non-world of sport wrestlers reach out to me.
Mm.
Like that's something else I've learned is I can't feasibly just make it world sport, and that's because there is a lot of gatekeepers out there of Big Daddy stuff, Giant Haystack stuff, Kendo stuff. Each one of them people has a gatekeeper who will not share any of this stuff. I mean, if you remember, I had the Haystack shirt at the last show.
Hmm.
I I borrowed that for that show. That won't be with me this year. That won't be shown again ever. It's a lot of gatekeepers, so I've had to expand outside World of Sport. Uh, if people pull through on their word, I've got some stuff from the Knights coming. So Saraya Knight,
Joey
Ricky Knight,
Knight.
yeah, and some Nigel McGuinness trunks coming apparently.
Oh,
But
lovely.
if they turn up, I don't know. I've been waiting for the Knight stuff for about 3 months now. I'm starting to think it's never coming.
Um,
Just random bits like that.
well, I think it's like what I said, it's just a nice love letter to British wrestling. And as you mentioned, obviously you probably couldn't stay in the world of sport. You need to do something to tantalize the local scene as well, I guess, when it comes to it. Pretty much every major county has got a wrestling promotion, so I imagine there's probably going to be
I
some
mean,
hitting
in
up.
Stoke alone, we've got I think three different wrestling promotions that have all got big players. The wrestlers I've signed are from Stoke, but they have done shows for GCW, Rev Pro, TNT, and what have you. So they're up and coming wrestlers, and I look forward to making the figures for them. They're coming around in a few weeks, so I can scan their faces, and
Oh,
I'm
cool.
gonna, yeah. So it's all up and coming. I've got a few people I'd like to get, like Lycos Jim, Luke Jacobs, uh,
Mm.
like legends. I'd love to get Marty Jones, Johnny Saint. Obviously, people like William Regal and Fit Finley are out of the question due to legends contracts, but I would have loved to have done them. I am I am aiming high in the British scene, but hopefully not too high. I mean, I'd love to do uh, Mad Kurt. I'd love to do a Mad Kurt figure. I absolutely love to do it. I just it's one of them things. There's a lot of people I'd like to do, and I don't want to get myself overexcited and go, yeah, everyone come in, and then I've got to make 20 figures, and
50.
I feel overwhelmed and just abandon the project.
Yeah, no, it's just see it done. Yeah, because as much as people would want all the World of Sport guys, all the local guys, Adrian Street, as you mentioned Kendo earlier, you know what I mean? Like all those guys, but you need to pace it, didn't you? Otherwise you get
Yeah,
yeah, you get customers.
that's what I mean. I don't want to get myself overwhelmed. I don't want to take on too much. I don't want to promise too much. That's why I be careful with some of my words in during this, so I don't promise too much. Like I said, you can always. My aim is to under promise and over deliver, and then people expect that quality and then come back. That's the aim, and I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to have the problem of I can say Cella this time, Cella of signing 50 different guys, getting the artwork done, and then we see nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
that's exactly it. And then someone else has got to pick up the slack. Um,
I own the Cella Toys prototype Mohead, like from Men on a Mission,
oh dear.
which, yeah, I can't share where I got that, but I own that.
No, no, you're fine.
I love Cella Toys. I love Epic Toys now, what they're doing. But like I say, it's just, I don't want that issue of over promising, over delivering, I like just under delivering.
Yeah, and now they're no mo, are they? That was epic. Um, what
Yeah.
was it? What we do? So you're on with us for our December episode of Battle Royal. When we're going to look at the Battle Royal and the Royal Albert
Yeah.
Hall, which obviously
Yeah, I've got a lot of information about that.
that's what I mean. So yeah, it'll be
I've got original Albert Hall posters. There were some World of Sport Dark matches on that card as well that I can't wait to get into and talk about with you guys
yeah,
on that
awesome.
top.
We're here
So
all
yeah,
day for it.
I've done my research into this. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, good. I mean, let's see if we do it for our December one, because we got some other things to drop around that time as well. So it will tie in nicely with the Royal Albert Hall, which would be good. But so it's been a bit of pleasure today to talk about the line, talk about what you're doing,
It's
the
been
direction you're going.
great happening.
Um, anything you need from us, give us a shout. Always happy to support local, I guess would be the term used, even though you're in Stoke and I'm down in Cornwall.
British. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh, cool. Nice place. I've been on holiday a few times.
yeah, it is nice. It's
Great place.
yeah, it's
You
like
get
the
snow up here or no?
it's what, sorry?
Are you getting snow down there, or is it
We
only
got
yours
we
up
got
here?
we got snow yesterday.
Oh,
We've had our snow for the year.
we've had snow up here for about 3 days straight. It's been freezing up here.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But welcome to winter. That week of summer was good, wasn't it?
I'm going to say we've had 1 week of summer that's going to last us now. We can't
Yeah,
wait.
it'll be fine. We've had a sunny delight. We'll be fine. But we'll catch up next month. Obviously, drop me a message in the meantime, or we'll get it promoted for you as much as possible. And yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Archie.
Thank you for having me. Been great
Hey,
talking to
anytime. I'll see you soon.
you. See you soon.